DC returns to Elseworlds and the Victorian era of history to imagine what would happen if the last son of Krypton had arrived on Earth decades earlier. Is it a bunch of member berries or some truly fresh ideas from Andy Diggle? We'll find out in our review of Batman Gotham by Gaslight, The Kryptonian Age #1 from DC Comics. See you in 3. Welcome back to Comical Opinions. This is our review of Batman Gotham by Gaslight, The Kryptonian Age #1. Say that 5 times fast, and we're going to dig into it. The issue starts off with a prologue that shows Jonathan and Martha Kent riding their horse-drawn wagon through the plains of Kansas, not Kansas. It says it in the comic. There's no S at the end. It's just Kansas in 1860. Jonathan drives his horse towards a parcel of land that they've purchased, and they're going to set up their homestead and begin a life settling on the frontier. Suddenly a meteor comes down in the middle of the night right by their carriage, knocks everything to hell, creates a crater. Jonathan and Martha kind of crawl up to the crater where the meteor crashed, and they find this silver object. It opens up and all you see is a green glowing light, and that's where it ends. We don't know what they find in that container, but they know it's green and glowing. Then we jump forward in time 33 years. So it's now 1893 in Gotham City. We meet Lady Selina Kyle, who is Catwoman, of course. She approaches several homeless women on the streets who are warming themselves by a fire. Selina gives some of them the opportunity to go to a home where they can receive some medical attention and food and safety and security, but a few others remain on the street because they're prostitutes or what have you, but she uses them as eyes and ears to help her understand what's going on in the streets, particularly as she starts to hear rumors about a man running around dressed as a bat. A little later that evening, Lady Selina Kyle attends a gala at the Gotham Museum to unveil a new exhibit called the Kryptonian Age. Several of the attendees don't like that she's there because they associate her with women of ill repute, as we say. And unfortunately, the wives are not happy that she's there, but some of the men are nervous that she's there because some of the men, how should we say, partake in some of the women that Selina associates with. After the introductions and some of the awkward chit chat, Selina says, "I'm not feeling well. Can you give me a place to rest?" And she's excused to this office in an upstairs location so she can let in her valet, if you will, in through a window so she can change into her Catwoman outfit and let her valet take her place at the party so that nobody knows she's gone. While the party is going on elsewhere in the gala, Catwoman scales the walls outside the museum, and she sneaks into the big room where the Kryptonian Age exhibits are stored before the big unveiling. She uses her claws to break into one of the display cases, and she takes out a ring that it looks like it's a green glowing ring, which may or may not be related to the ring that was seen earlier in the issue. But we also learn from one of the speakers at the gala with all the attendees that all the artifacts in that room were donated by the Wayne Foundation because they believe that there is some link to a lost or a hidden civilization earlier in humanity's history, which may be a link between Earth humans and Kryptonians. After Catwoman steals the ring, she heads to the nearby docks and she delivers the ring to this group of thugs and henchmen. Apparently, she was hired to steal the ring, and in exchange for its proper delivery, they were supposed to give her a small pile of uncut diamonds. The thugs think about attacking her, saying, "It's just one woman. We could jump her, take the ring, keep the diamonds, and then none will be the wiser." But they know better because they've seen her fight, and apparently they want none of that nonsense. And then the situation gets crazy. The group is attacked by ninjas. Who'd have thunk it? And the ninjas are led by a woman who's dressed in veils and Middle Eastern garb. The woman has come for the ring, which she calls the Ring of Jiang Li. Simultaneously, this Batman who's been showing up on the streets also arrives in the fight. The ninjas manage to get the ring and they give it to the woman who's dressed in the Middle Eastern garb, but she quickly figures out it's a fake. It's just a regular ring that is coated or painted in glowing paint. And she figures out that the ring was planted by Mr. Wayne from the Wayne Foundation because apparently it was some kind of trap meant to draw her out. The fight gets pretty crazy. It turns into an all-out melee brawl, and that fight spills out of the warehouse at the docks and eventually onto a moving subway train that is on an elevated track. The masked woman kind of gets the better of the Batman as he's throwing knives and daggers at the ninjas, but she's not so easily put down. And she declares herself that she is the only one that is capable of defeating him, and she's going to make sure he gets a quick, painful death. And her name is Talia al Ghul. And that's how the issue ends. Or wait a minute, you might say, wait a minute. It's called the Kryptonian Age. Kryptonian implies Superman. The beginning prologue, it looks like the traditional classic Superman origin story on Earth anyway, but set in frontier times. What happened? Where's Superman? Where's anything Kryptonian? There's a green glowing ring. Does that mean it's kryptonite? All these questions, good questions. I love you for asking questions, but hear me out. The title suggests you're going to get a Victorian era Superman. That may or may not happen. Andy Diggle appears to be building some kind of anticipation by planting little teases, little hints that something's coming. The question then becomes, is he building enough anticipation? Is he teasing you enough to kind of give you that hook that you need to come back for the second issue? Maybe not. Let's talk about it. Before we get there, let's talk about what we liked and what we didn't like. So starting off what we liked from Batman, Gotham By Gaslight, The Kryptonian Age, #1. That title is way too long, but we're going to go with it. Andy Diggle and Leandro Fernandez do the Gotham By Gaslight aesthetic correctly. It feels gothic, it feels moody and atmospheric. So if you're a fan of the original Gotham By Gaslight, you're going to like the visuals and the sense of the story here. The costumes are period specific and they feel like they fit. The personalities of the characters also feel like they fit. The setup, like a classic museum gala or fundraiser with museum pieces and all that all fits. It all fits. It all feels like something straight out of the original Gotham By Gaslight story. So if you're a fan of the original story, you're going to like it. If you like the concept of an Elseworlds story that's set in either in a different time or different place, you're probably going to like it. So what didn't we like about Batman, Gotham By Gaslight, The Kryptonian Age, #1? I would say personally, your knee-jerk reaction about the lack of Kryptonian substance is probably the right one. Diggle is taking a really slow burn approach to teasing out what would you presume is promised, which is a Victorian era type Superman. There's almost, aside from the opening prologue with the Kents and the glowing green ring, which actually has the House of L symbol etched in it, there's nothing particularly Kryptonian about this issue. It's still almost all a Gotham By Gaslight story, which is centered on Batman. So that's not to say something won't come up in the future. It may, but right now, no, there's nothing there. Not just to be fair to Andy Diggle, this is not Rom V levels of decompression, because please believe me, nobody wants that. But there's just no wow moment in this issue. Diggle is playing it safe, not too safe, but safe enough that there's nothing to grab you. What probably should have happened is if they are going to introduce a Victorian era Superman, that should have been the last page cliffhanger instead of Talia al Ghul. There's nothing wrong with making Talia like the big twist moment, but honestly, it's not that much of a twist. So if they were going to grab you and demand your attention to entice you to come back for the second issue, a Victorian era Superman on that last page would have been it. And we feel like Andy Diggle missed that opportunity. So final thoughts. What do we think about Batman, Gotham By Gaslight, The Kryptonian Age, #1? Readers who are a fan of the original Gotham By Gaslight Elseworlds story, they're going to like this. Is from a aesthetic and atmosphere and design perspective, it's all there. And especially the idea, at least, of there's a connection between Earth and Krypton that fits within that Elseworlds environment. It is enticing. It's intriguing. We want to see more about that. The art, it looks good, but I would say the art looks good, but readers will be disappointed with the almost total lack of Kryptonian stuff in this first issue to really grab you and get your hype factor up. It's too safe, which is a bummer. Therefore, we're going to give Batman, Gotham By Gaslight, The Kryptonian Age, #1 from DC Comics, a 6 out of 10. If we're off base, let us know. I want to hear your opinion. Give us a thumbs up if you're a fan of Gotham by Gaslight, or a fan of Batman, or a fan of DC Comics, and just let us know that you approve of what they're doing. And if you think we're off base, leave a comment below and let us know, because I want your opinion. I want to hear what you think about this. Otherwise, thank you very much for joining, and please stay tuned through the outro for the next review.